I wanted to ask you a little bit too about like the Golovkin-Canelo fights.
Short right hand. He's gonna counter with the uppercut. Give me the left hook right here.
Because you know he's progressing, doing so good, and everybody's calling for this fight, right? And then you get the fight, the first fight, and I think the majority of the people felt Golovkin won the first fight pretty clearly, pretty convincingly.
Yeah, but when you have a score at 118 to 110.
Yeah, brutal.
It's a little hard.
Yeah, and then, okay, so that happens, right? And then you're going to have a rematch. And then the whole thing with, like, just some interesting just stuff I would love to hear your perspective on is, like, there was a hand wrap situation. There was a Mexican meat situation, I think it was. Like, and hey, great commercial, by the way.
Superhuman power requires a special ingredient.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to plug that. That's a great. What a great commercial with you eating the steak. Yeah. I mean, that was beautiful.
It took like 5 hours. To
yeah, that was a great commercial.
20 seconds.
Like, what is like? So, what's going through your mind? Like, what's happening with all those situations?
First of all, Tom Loeffler, the promoter,
right,
and I just happen to think very much alike.
Yeah.
In this manner, we know we need to promote. We need to talk.
Yeah.
We need to have. I used to bring up reporters and keep them up here in Big for a weekend just so they could do a piece on Golovkin.
Got it.
When Tom and I were working directly with Golovkin, if you look at boxing, any boxing scene or fight news, there was 3 or 4 things in a 20 article sheet. There was 4 or 5 things of Golovkin.
Yeah.
Today you don't see that. The same thing with Andre. Andre Ward didn't have that. When he was in his heyday, he never had any ink.
Yeah.
You have to promote.
Yeah.
In order to sell a fight, you have to promote. The first fight, I think we won. The second fight, I think we won too, but it was a little closer. But the first fight, I think, was definitely a Golovkin fight. The second fight, the promotion part of it, the meat part of it, it was all part of just trying to build the fight.
Yeah.
Okay, look, everybody does some shit in this game, in any game, in football, in baseball. They're all doing something. That they're not getting caught, they're good at it. The guy up in San Francisco got caught a long time ago doing that stuff. So all of these fighters are doing something that's illegal. Or should I say, a lot of these fighters are doing something that's illegal.
You really think it's like, what percentage are we talking?
Absolutely.
Like more than?
I think that a lot of success, and I welcome somebody in my gym checking my fighters.
Yeah.
I welcome that.
Yeah, me too.
A lot of fighters don't.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches don't. There's a lot of situations where they're not allowed. Like I'm glad Vada's doing like that. They don't announce when they come in. You know, I've had Vada here sometimes 3 days in a row for the same fighter.
Right.
You know, which I think is great. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, some of them are getting away with it.
Right.
For whatever reason.
So you think that, like, I mean, you just whatever, do whatever you're gonna do, and
listen. If I have to worry about that, then I'm not doing my job in here.
Right.
Let the people that are supposed to worry about that, and I have to trust them.
Right.
I have to trust Vada that Vada's doing their job.
So did he? I can't remember exactly how it played out.
He supposedly ate a meat that was the cattle are.
And it was in between the 2 fights, right?
It was before the second fight.
He tested positive for clenbuterol, I think it was something like that.
And it was a small percentage.
Right.
But listen, if Vada goes out there and does it again and he tests negative, then. But I have to continue to.
No, yeah, you're going to do what you're going to do.
Because it's part of the promotion.
Don't run.
And he didn't do anything.
No corras la siguiente vez.
Y te hablo a ti porque tu peleador no dice nada.
It's part of. I want him upset. If you remember the press conference over at the LA Live, he came out of his seat coming towards me. You know, so that's part of building it up. Unfortunately, this fight hasn't had any of that.
Yeah.
There's got to be. This third
fight that's going to take place.
There's got to be dramatics. There's got to be dramatics in it for things to sell. And Tom Loeffler was very instrumental in a lot of the things that happened because he's the one that set things up. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they had me on the stage and wanted me to talk about that and wanted me to say bad things about Canelo, which is how you build a fight.
Yeah.
Listen, in the way in between, in the second fight, did you see me step in between them and Chepo's throwing punches at me? That's all part of it, man.
Yeah.
That's all part of the hype that you got to have. I stepped between them because listen, we worked 10 weeks in here. I don't want somebody to get a cut lip or cut eye, and they're not thinking at that moment. So, but the Chepo threw those punches at me. That was the greatest thing because why? Now the coaches are fighting. It's going to be some kind of article or something being written. So, in the second fight, the first fight he fought like I wanted him to fight it. In the second fight, there was so much written, if you remember, about him not being a boxer, him being a puncher. That's all he was. He couldn't box. And I think it got under his skin, under Gennady's skin, and he wanted to prove everybody that he could box.
So he's fighting off his back foot a little more.
Yeah, and he had a beautiful jab, and every time he threw a jab, he landed it.
He does have an excellent jab.
But if I'm a judge, and you fought 23 times, you had 23 knockouts, I want to see you going forward. As soon as you start going backwards, I think the other guy's winning. And I think that's what happened to us. I think that they saw Golovkin in a way that he was retreating with his jab and really wasn't attacking. So I think the scoring was had a lot to do with that.
Like I know too, for that fight, you were kind of uncomfortable the way that the hands were wrapped, right?
No, I can't have that. No, I cannot have that.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's not gonna happen. No.
That also was.
A little bit of gamesmanship?
Gamesmanship, yeah.
Right.
In Mexico, in a lot of states, they allow you to put tape on
stacking,
the bare hands.
right? Yeah, I know.
They call it stacking.
I know.
Okay, it helps and it doesn't help. But listen, if the fighter is comfortable with it, it helps. If the fighter is not used to it, then it doesn't help.
Right.
And Canelo, because how he trained over there, as long as they don't put nothing here, as long as that tape is from here back, really, what?
Yeah.
What is it gonna? If he's done it all his life, it's going to help him. If he hasn't, if they're just doing it for that fight, that's not going to help him because it'd be uncomfortable.
Well, in some states you can't do it, so I mean,
in California they allow you to do some. And I've always been a proponent of this: protect your man's hands. As long as you're not doing something illegal that's going to harm my fighter, like I said, put something beyond the knuckles. Then
what do you think? Because I don't know either, but what do you think? The reasoning is like California won't let you stack the hand wraps, but Texas will or Nevada will. Why do you think that those rules are different?
I think that it's got to be uniformed.
But what do you think the reasoning is though? Why, do you think California thinks like stacking the hand wraps is going to give him some kind of unfair
advantage? Because there hasn't been no test. There hasn't been no test done by the California Commission in order to decide whether or understand if it's a benefit or not. Remember that show Mythbusters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't they do the same? You wrap your hands and stack the tape on them. Okay, and have you hit something and see if it makes a difference on your power.
Just for context, stacking means you're going to have tape, gauze, as opposed to just gauze and then tape, right?
Not necessarily. No, you don't have enough gauze and tape to do that.
Okay.
Stacking means that you're going to put tape on the bare hand, then the wrap, and then tape on top of the hand. Just 3 times.
Got it.
Yeah, you don't have enough.
As opposed to just going gauze and then tape.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Same.
But you have to know you're allowed so much gauze and so much tape. You have to know how to use the gauze and tape that you're allowed.
Yeah.
So I think that they need to test it. Like I said, that show Mythbusters, if they were to have somebody wrap, the same guy, wrap your hands, stacking it, and then wrap it just without the stack and see if it makes a difference.
So you really didn't even care how he wrapped his hands. You were just
it's illegal. No, wait a minute. I did care because it's illegal to do that in the United States. So I was just bringing it up. Oh yeah,
because
in Nevada anyway.
Oh, I had a guy fighting in Texas. They let him
Texas
do it.
They allowed. Yeah, Dicky Cole was allowing that there, but in Nevada and in California, it's not allowed. So whatever state you go to, you have to be in tune with what the rules are.
Right.
Right. So you have to follow the rules. That's why I say it has to be uniform throughout the United States. But unfortunately, this is the only sport. This is the only sport that doesn't have one governing body.
Right.
It has 50 governing bodies.
Right.
And 4 organizations that want to govern themselves also be governing bodies.
Right.
So there's nothing consistent about our sport. There's nothing, even the rounds or even the round where the fight ends, if there's a cut, that's not consistent in every state is different.
Right.
So what I was doing there is I was just pointing out that it's illegal. Here in Nevada, it's illegal. Unfortunately, the commissioner or the inspector that was there was allowing it because he was not in tune with what their rules are in the book.
Yeah.
He's interpreting, it's like he's interpreting his own rules. In other words, this is how I think it should be done, and it's okay.
Okay, so he let him rap.
He actually allowed them to rap, even though I was consistently. But at that point, I wasn't going to change it. Okay.
Right.
At that point, for me, is to just make sure that they know that I'm there.
Yeah.